Story 1. Not really. The strange part is that I do enjoy my job. While I am at the office, I enjoy my work, but for some reason thinking about going to work feels dreadful. If anyone relates, please let me know how you deal with this. Story 2. I drive a delivery van, taking people shopping to their homes. It does not pay well, but I get to drive around the countryside listening to music and podcasts, and the work requires very little effort. I enjoy driving, so that probably helps. Story 3. I am a science teacher and I love my job. I feel lucky to be paid for work I enjoy. Story 4. I am retired now, but when I was working, I never woke up thinking I had to go to work. I spent 20 years as a firefighter and paramedic and retired as a battalion chief. Every day I thought I had a chance to make someone's day a little better, whether by giving a group of kindergarten children a tour of the station or fighting a fire to try to save a family's home. Story 5. Yes. I run a small business that I started myself. It's stressful, but I wake up motivated because every hour I put in builds something that is mine. Story 6. Yes, and I work 12 hours a day, 7 days a week. 2 years ago, I bought a local diner that came up for sale and has been in my town for over 100 years. My buddy is a chef and went in on the place with me. 4 days a week are rough because customers are there. The other 3 days are super fun. I get to do do-it-yourself projects to make our place nicer, listen to music, audiobooks, and podcasts, and spend money as much as I want. Way more hours than I've ever worked, but I have a stake in the business, and I'm making more money than I ever have before. Story 7. I am retired now, but I loved my career. I was a microwave and radio engineer for a large county, working on 911 emergency response infrastructure. I handled everything from design and installation to maintenance for large multimillion-dollar systems. I took many four-wheel drive trips to deserts and mountains and occasionally rode in a helicopter. Management was level-headed and took very good care of us. My coworkers were among the brightest people I have ever met. Story 8. Yes. I am a theoretical physicist specializing in mathematical biology. I enjoy solving hard problems and making progress toward understanding phenomena that can be translated into new technologies. Story 9. It depends on how successful I am at the job. If I know how to handle all the tasks, I enjoy going to work. Story 10. I work in the conservation field. Most of our time and money is spent on private land conservation, where it is desperately needed. It is rewarding to see that work completed. The work can be frustrating and difficult. Landowners can be a challenge, but it is satisfying to see projects that matter succeed. Most people do not understand when I tell them that I go to work to avoid the stress of home life. Story 11. I work in a hospital laboratory working with surgical tissues, that is, a pathology gross room. Usually this means cancer tissues, but sometimes it can be the occasional amputated limb, a whole organ, or very large lipomas, which are fatty tumors. The worst case last week was a cancer-filled ovary that had expanded to the size of a basketball. It was filled with cancer tissue and fluid. Gross, but also fascinating. My coworkers are nice. The pathologists are happy to answer questions, and there is loud music every day in the laboratory. The hours are not too bad either. I enjoy it because every day is different. I get to help provide patient care, although not directly. It is nice to know I am contributing to someone's health even in a small way. I hope to attend a pathology assistant program in the future, but we will see. Story 12. I work as the head of the information technology support team at a bank. I love it and am excited to go to work most days. The information technology team is relatively small with 14 members. We get along very well. The director of information technology is excellent. Working with him and learning from him is a blessing. He always has our back and helps with any problem, no matter how small. He does hands-on work and leads by example, which is inspiring. I was extremely lucky because my last job was the polar opposite. The people and team were okay, although I kept to myself and did not interact much. Management was poor and the pay was low. Story 13. I was laid off from a very good corporate job in 2023. I am starting at McDonald's soon. I was rehired at the place where I worked from 2008 to 2013. Story 14. I edit movie trailers. Everything from the biggest tentpoles of the year to small streaming series. Not every day. I get very burned out because we work a lot of overtime and often on weekends, and my life balance is terrible. That said, I love the work I am actually paid to do. Story 15. I work for a large international toy company founded in a European country. They treat us very well. The company is not publicly traded, and we receive occasional bonuses. They really look out for their employees. Story 16. Assessment scientist with a Doctor of Philosophy degree in industrial organizational psychology. I work from home running my own test publishing firm. I create tests and find the work meaningful. For example, I recently released the world's most accurate career test and made it completely free. It never asks for money. It feels rewarding to help people decide what to do with their lives without trying to profit from them. Story 17. I enjoy my job and would prefer 30 hours per week. Story 18. I can escape my life problems for 8 to 10 hours and make a few bucks. That's exciting for me. I'm a cook. But any excitement I get about that I have to find in the moment. Story 19. I am not excited. I am glad that I have a well-paying job with little stress. I do electrical work. Story 20. Not every day, but on many days I feel this way. I work as an engineer in rocket propulsion, specifically on propellant feed systems. I love designing and building things and do so in my free time as well. The feeling when something you designed is tested and works as intended, and your calculations and assumptions are proven correct, is one of the very few things that feels better than an orgasm. Story 21. I am a labor and delivery nurse, and I can honestly say I love going to work every day. Granted, not all days are sunshine and rainbows, but 14 years later I still love it. Story 22. I am a speech-language pathologist and I work in a school. I enjoy going to work every day. Sometimes the adults are difficult, but the children are always fun. Story 23. I am a flight instructor and love teaching. There is nothing better than watching my students achieve their goals. Story 24. Yes, I am a sound engineer. I work with bands and music venues for most of the year. I also do a lot of studio recording, which I enjoy less. Even a bad day at work is still a pretty cool day. Story 25. I am a highly paid, skilled information technology worker. I absolutely love my job. It's a huge privilege to have my kind of life. I grew up poor and used to fantasize and daydream about having a life like the one I have now. Story 26. Yes, I am 29 years old and work at Audi in car sales. It is mostly a relaxed job, it pays well, and it gives me purpose. I wake up, do my hair and makeup, and put on a nice outfit. Doing so makes me feel my best. People treat me nicely, which some call pretty privilege, though I prefer to think of it as effort privilege. Buying a car is an exciting time for 99% of buyers. They feel joyous, and I get to share in that joy. Every day I am thankful for my job. Story 27. I like going to work. I am a school psychologist. I have had really stressful jobs, and my current position is less stressful, which makes me appreciate it more. Whenever my therapist asks me how work is going, I always say that it is good and mean it. I can make a big impact on some of the students I work with, and that is incredibly rewarding. Story 28. Not every day, but I am a professor and I do love my job most days. Story 29. I recently won an election I had lost 4 years earlier. The person I defeated was illegally using taxpayer funds. He had been in office for 24 years. With his lawyer's help, he was required to repay $10,000. As soon as I was sworn in, I hired an accounting firm that specializes in government forensic audits. They will submit their findings to the district attorney. This is a very small local government, so I cannot do much in the grand scheme of things, but I absolutely love my job. I strongly believe in term limits, so I will serve only this term. If voters re-elect me, I will serve one more term. During my time in office, I hope to show that not all politicians are corrupt and that some of us truly want and do what is best for taxpayers. Story 30. I work as a tour guide giving historical ghost tours. I hate leaving the house because I love being home, but I always have fun on my tours. I get great tips and earn $50 to $75 per tour. Each tour lasts only an hour or two, and I get booked regularly. It is not so bad. It is the leaving the house at night that bothers me. Story 31. Information technology professional who got his first computer at age 11 in 1989. I love my job. Story 32. I'm a barber. The more bookings I have, the more excited I am to get started, and the days pass so quickly. It's a fun job altogether if you have the patience, but it's also a constant grind of building clientele, improving services, and marketing yourself. Story 33. I used to be like that before my career change. I did not change by choice. Story 34. Yes, I work in administration in a large department at a private university. My boss is inspiring, the scope of work is diverse, and our team is amazing. The right mix of learning something new every day, variety, and problem-solving keeps me on my toes. It took a while to get here, and I am very grateful. Story 35. I'm a special education teacher in the Resource Specialist program for kindergarten through 3rd grade, and I love it. Nothing has ever made me want to get out of bed like this. I look forward to every day of work. Story 36. It comes and goes, and that is probably the honest answer of any truly engaged person. For me, the challenge is 50% the work and 50% the great people I get to work with and help develop. Story 37. Unfortunately, I wish I were more enthusiastic. When I started my job, it was challenging because I had to be licensed, and I enjoyed going to work to see my coworkers since we went through the difficult studying and training together. I work on the phone and used to see my coworkers until I began working from home. The main issue has been continual verbal abuse. I only take incoming calls, and I feel like the people who call in do not take responsibility, do not sign contracts or other documents, do not submit necessary paperwork, do not check their email or mail, and do not even know how to balance a checking account. I even get blamed when a payment is withdrawn and they do not have money in their account. I am shaking my head. It is not just an inquiry. Some of them yell while I am answering the phone. What has happened to manners and common courtesy? It seems people cannot handle adult responsibilities anymore and want to take it out on someone else. Story 38. I love it. I am a postal carrier. I am alone all day outside solving problems. It is incredibly satisfying to see a full truck disappear, knowing you did that. I have retirement, job security, and insurance, and I get comic relief when I talk to spoiled people who probably have less money than I do. Story 39. I am retired now, but I was a firefighter and an emergency medical technician. I genuinely loved the problem-solving aspect. People call you on the worst day of their lives to make it better, so figure it out. Story 40. I am a cook and lunch lady in an elementary school. After a lifetime in catering and restaurants, this job is a blast. Story 41. I am a highway engineer. I never dread going to work. There is always something interesting to do, and the work is rewarding because I see projects come to life. It is very low stress. Story 42. Being an elementary school teacher is a great job. No 2 days are the same. Story 43. I love going to work. I am an internal medicine nurse practitioner. I also love that I work 3 10-hour shifts a week and equally enjoy my days at home with my children. Story 44. I start my day checking the markets and placing trades when they make sense. I then spend my day helping prospective students. A few times a week I volunteer as a first responder, helping others, training the next generation, and mentoring cadets. Story 45. I am a software engineer. Maybe excited is a slight exaggeration, but right now I am working fully remotely and enjoying the freedom it affords me. Story 46. I went to college to teach people how to have fun, but I couldn't be the woman who left her child in daycare to go to work. I wasn't emotionally strong enough, so I became their teacher. Daycare is hard. It should be mandatory to work with all ages in daycare before you're allowed to have sex. When the children got older and I could crush them at kickball, dodgeball, and basketball, my job did not feel like a job. Driving the giant school bus, going faster over the bumps on our way to pumpkin patches and museums, and threatening to pull over if anyone was mean to someone else, and they knew I meant it, was empowering. Playing Rummy 500 as a job, having kids give me a run for my money, and running into other daycare teachers I had trained years after they graduated who told me I was an inspiration. That is what life is about. Story 47. I work for a very well-known company. I live not too far away, so the commute is not bad. The office campus is nice, with free snacks and coffee at the office and at many nearby places. Story 48. I'm excited on Tuesdays and Thursdays when the deli down the street has calzones and bignolatas at lunch. Call center. Story 49. I am a high school teacher and I love the subject I am teaching. The job itself, however, does not bother me. I do not always look forward to seeing my students, but I am not dragging myself to work. Overall, I am neither passionate about my job nor dreading it. I will continue doing what I do until I decide otherwise. Story 50. Yes, I fix problems with people's pensions every day. It's like solving logic and mathematics puzzles and getting paid for it. Story 51. I am a research scientist. More often than not, I look forward to work. Some days are not great, but most days are positive and the coffee is free and not half bad. Story 52. I am a freelance visual effects artist. I get to work from home and create animations for clients. I used to do it as a hobby. Now I get paid. I never tire of telling myself in the mirror how fortunate I am and how much I appreciate my life. Story 53. I switched careers in my mid-30s to something I am passionate about, technology. I landed my dream job at a fast-growing company, and it is very exciting. I still pinch myself when I walk into the office, even a year later. Story 54. I work with kids almost every day, about 99 out of 100 days. Seeing their unfiltered enthusiasm for anything is amazing. This, combined with watching them grow into little people with their own strong personalities, thoughts, and interests, makes it incredibly rewarding to show up every day. Story 55. Do you mean every day, no matter what, to an exact schedule? No, that would be seeking utopia. You sign up for a hobby team and sometimes you do not feel like it that day, but you go because of the team, promises, and so on. I have never had a job I truly did not enjoy. The closest was a position with a not-so-great corporate culture, and I moved on in 6 months. Going back to childhood, I have done many things: installed sprinklers, worked as a waiter and caterer, operated a moon bounce ride, served in the military, worked in various hospital support roles, been a mechanic, done security work, and worked as a concert producer. All were enjoyable in their own ways. I learned things, met people, and made an impact. I felt a sense of accomplishment, was involved in missions, and participated in people's joyous events. I also consoled people during difficult times, helped others, and protected people. The only reasons not to engage in work are if you are internally very miserable and lazy, or if you are trapped at a terrible company for an extended period. If it is the latter, you should have been looking for other opportunities. Story 56. My normal tasks as a staff accountant are mundane, but I fill my time with automation, learning to code, and applying it to my work. I am completely consumed by it right now. Before getting into automation and coding, my job did not have much to look forward to, laughing out loud. Story 57. I am a graphic designer. I have always loved it and still do. Story 58. I work in emergency services dispatching in Australia. I genuinely love my work. Story 59. Front-end developer specializing in Angular and React. I work intensely every day to rescue legacy codebases that others were too lazy to maintain, completely rewriting them from JavaScript to TypeScript with JSX, writing unit tests, removing unnecessary libraries, and creating new features. I help and mentor colleagues, and give lectures. I jump straight into the hardest problem a team has ignored as my first task when I join. Now, with proper artificial intelligence prompting, I am 50% more effective. I am an artist, game developer, stock market enthusiast, and painter in my spare time, so it complements my creative side well. Story 60. I believe a good job is defined by the coworkers and the environment. I get along well with my coworkers, even though I am not a fan of working in finance. Story 61. I'm a daycare inspector. I visit licensed daycare centers to ensure everything is in order for their annual permit renewal. I love seeing the children, and they enjoy seeing me. Story 62. I sell wake surf boats at a dealership. I absolutely love it. I have been in the marine industry for almost 10 years. I am constantly on the water and work with a great team. I would not trade it for anything. Story 63. Information technology support for local government. I previously worked in environments associated with Facebook, Apple, Amazon, Netflix, and Google. While the pay was enormous, the performance metrics I had to meet and the fact that my manager did not know how to remove a stick of random access memory were obnoxious. It is unfortunate that I lost the income, but Mondays do not bother me anymore. Story 64. I work for an airline. I like planes and operating heavy equipment such as large cargo loaders and pushback tractors. I enjoy pushing planes out onto the runway. It is my favorite job. It pays well and has excellent flight benefits. Everyone I work with is friendly and relaxed. The only way to explain it is that I get the same feeling of joy as when I handle power tools or pull the trigger on a power drill. Story 65. I only get excited when I know a sales representative is bringing lunch for our practice. I love food that I do not have to make or pay for. I am a nurse at a surgery center. Story 66. I love my job. I am part of the Food Safety and Quality Assurance Department at a food manufacturing company. My focus is regulatory compliance. It is boring to most people, but I find it fascinating. The work I do directly contributes to producing safe food. Story 67. I lead a department that builds horror animatronics for haunted houses around the world. I am responsible for the visual design, and it is a lot of fun to work with blood effects every day. Story 68. I am the chief executive officer of a nonprofit that supports older adults. I love it. It's not easy, but it brings me joy. Story 69. I have what I would consider the best job I have ever had, but I do not want to be here. I am annoyed by people and frustrated with almost every aspect of the job. Story 70. I work as a counselor at a boys' shelter and have some of the best coworkers and supervisors you could ask for. Story 71. Not at all. It used to bug me, but I've been able to separate work and life a little more lately, so I don't really mind. Story 72. As someone who works from home, I enjoy having the house to myself for 6 to 8 hours a day, even if I have to work during that time. Story 73. I work in product at a company like Facebook, Apple, Amazon, Netflix, or Google. I enjoy the work so much that I often work during paid time off at night and on weekends. The problems are hard, interesting, and consequential. This is not sarcasm. Story 74. You might earn a paycheck and help your company generate income. Story 75. I am a senior engineering technologist. I mostly work by myself in my office and listen to music while designing and drafting. I love it. Story 76. Hell no. Downtown is awful. The drive there and back wastes a lot of time. I hate having to pay for parking every morning. Story 77. I work from home as a software engineer. I have a massive sound system around my desk. I spin records and write code all day. It's glorious. Story 78. I am an animator at a studio. The days can be long and sometimes stressful. I have no illusions. Compared with many ways to make a living, I am very lucky. Story 79. I am a teacher. It is an amazing school with incredible colleagues and students. Do not get me wrong. I am completely exhausted but fulfilled. Story 80. Yes. I work for an ice cream company. I have great coworkers and bosses. I started as a delivery driver and worked my way up to depot manager. I cannot speak for corporate, but I enjoy what I do and bringing smiles to people's faces with free ice cream. Story 81. Yes. I am a middle school teacher. My boss and administrator are great, the staff is fantastic, and I really make a difference to the students. Story 82. I am not excited to do the work per se, but I am always excited to see my teammates and friends at work. I have never smiled more than at this job. I work at a paint store. Story 83. Yes, I own a vacation rental cleaning company and I love it. I have attention deficit disorder, and I get a small dopamine rush every time I take something from dirty to clean. It is incredibly satisfying. Story 84. Yes, I work in the video game industry in a strategy role. It took a while to achieve a work-life balance, since my job can easily require more than 10 hours a day. My colleagues are brilliant and kind. The office has free food, and my team is hybrid, so I can work from home as needed. Importantly, I regularly see how my work directly benefits our players, which is a strong motivation to put in extra effort day to day. It is definitely my favorite job since I graduated from college. I have worked in 3 different sectors: health, academia, and technology. Story 85. Yes, I am a musician. I love everything about it. Rehearsals, practice, studio sessions, shows, and teaching. Story 86. I dread work. I have a countdown showing how many days remain. 21:55. Story 87. I would not say I am excited, but I am happy knowing that I do not have to work for someone else or have someone else profit from my labor. Story 88. Yes. I work as an information technology leader in a growing organization that challenges me intellectually and requires me to solve problems every day. Story 89. Sometimes I want to go to work because I am enjoying it. Story 90. I am a musician. There are better and worse days, but I have never regretted choosing this as my career. Story 91. I love my job, but I cannot stand many of the people I work with. I'm the human resources and business office manager in a long-term care nursing home. I help staff and residents and am training for my administrator license. Story 92. Yes, I am a high school teacher. I love it and look forward to every day. Story 93. I am an intensive care unit nurse. I like it most days, but I work 3 12-hour shifts a week instead of 5 days a week. Story 94. Surf and paddleboard rentals and lessons. An office with outdoors, also known as a palapa, on the beach in a charming surf town in Mexico. I do not make a lot of money, but I love going to work. Story 95. I love my work, but I do not love the systemized nature of it. I have a bespoke role that lets me focus on fixing problems I have found over the past 4 years. It is extremely satisfying and quite flexible because often the issue is years of accumulated data, which I can address at 2 a.m. if I cannot sleep, and then take a half day to compensate. Story 96. I am a dog trainer and rescue rehabilitator. I oversee group play. Like any job, it has days and moments that are stressful, but the enjoyment and fulfillment are meaningful. Story 97. Not really. I'm a union electrician. I chose this because I didn't want to work in retail anymore. I started at 29 as an apprentice and became a journeyman at 34. Pays okay. I get by. The best part of the day is going home, and I've met some great people. Story 98. Yes. I am a bioinformatician in rare disease research. Every day involves data, scripting, and problem solving. I like putting my brain to work and not stressing constantly. It helps that I do not have kids and I am paid decently. Story 99. When I worked in maintenance at a national park, I loved my job. It was super rewarding work that was not too difficult, and I got to drive around the park all day. I picked up litter, cleaned bathrooms, and emptied and rebagged trash cans. Story 100. If my commute is literally 5 seconds from my bed to my desk. Story 101. It depends on how I slept the night before. If I'm well rested, it will probably be a good or okay day. If I slept poorly, I might still get through it with coffee, even if work is a pain. Story 102. My only motivation is to finish the week to get the money to spend on things I enjoy. Story 103. I love the career I have chosen in bioprocessing, specializing in fermentation research and development with genetically modified organisms, and I can work all day if I want to. Story 104. The only time I felt that way was when I worked as a bartender at my favorite bar. I was essentially getting paid to party without being drunk. Now I work an office job and hate it. Story 105. Yes, I am a reporter in a small town, and I genuinely love talking to people and writing. So I am truly working my dream job. It definitely helps to have a small team where everyone is relaxed. I am also the youngest, fresh out of university, but I feel respected and they take me seriously, which is very nice. I could go on about how much I love my job. Story 106. I own an online landscape design business helping residential clients and landscape professionals produce two-dimensional and three-dimensional landscape designs. I love designing people's outdoor spaces. Every project is unique, and there are many ways to address challenges and create something beautiful with hardscapes and plantings. When I worked for other companies as a designer, it was fine, but I dreaded Monday mornings. Story 107. Yes, I cannot tell you what I do, and I never know what the day will bring. I am very grateful for my career. Story 108. I would not say I am super excited, but I definitely do not hate going to work. Some days I look forward to it because I love what I do. I am a school-based therapist at an alternative high school. Story 109. That's me if most days is close enough. I am a design engineer for medical devices. Everything I do is ultimately to solve an unmet need for patients or medical professionals. 10 out of 10, great work and very fulfilling. Sometimes my job is also to convince stakeholders, for example, the people who provide funding, to step out of their own way. There are many new ideas that need to get off the ground, but many stakeholders try to create a perfect product, which does not and cannot exist. As a result, the product never makes it out of the design phase. I dislike this part because I see many great ideas die before they have a chance to reach the market, and the problems they were trying to solve remain unsolved. Story 110. I own a record store. It's fun but not high-paying. I take plenty of time off, however. Story 111. Yes, my job is pretty awesome in the grand scheme of things. I drive trains. Although it can be stressful, it is a great job. I always feel the gleeful child in me come out when I set up the controls and drive. Story 112. Yes, I run a relationship therapy practice with my partner. I enjoy helping people and building a business together. Story 113. I worked 8 to 5 jobs for years. My mental health was shattered and I had given up on life. I was so close to taking my own life. I am not exaggerating. I was in a dark place after 9 years as a software developer. I loved programming until I was paid to do it. I quit my job and went through my savings. I started flipping items on eBay to survive. That turned into a business that pays my bills and provides some extra income, and it is fun. I basically hunt treasure for a living. Some people look down on resellers and call us vultures. I do not get it. People will criticize reselling and then shop at Walmart, which is one of the scummiest corporations on the planet. Story 114. I am always very excited. Sometimes I am flustered, but ultimately I love what I do. I am a software engineer for a smaller private aerospace organization. Things move slowly, but there is not much red tape around what I do. I have been able to learn a great deal and build useful things. I feel that my work is valued, and I am paid well. Story 115. Am I excited for work? No, I am excited that I can drop the kids off at my grandma's, work from home, and watch YouTube in my quiet office for the day. I work in the mortgage industry. Story 116. I am a cheesemonger who gets to work with the product I love and share my passion with my customers. Today, I broke down an 80-pound wheel of Parmigiano Reggiano. I wish it paid more, but I feel very fortunate to get to do cool work all day. Story 117. I am a software engineer at a small firm. I work with very nice people and have fun projects. I worked somewhere much less fun before. Story 118. I really like my job. I love it when I get to attend a conference or present parts of my work I am passionate about, but being excited to go to work every day would be a massive stretch. I am a technologist and educator in human simulation. Story 119. Not every day. I'm excited more often than not. I'm an aide at an elementary school. Story 120. I teach piano. My job is my hobby. I know how lucky I am. Story 121. Before I had a baby, I did not take paid time off. Now that I have one, I am happy to use it. I am a software developer. Story 122. I am the director of an art gallery, and I love my job. After a short summer break, I was excited to return to the gallery. I feel fortunate. Story 123. Yes, I am a speech pathologist in a neonatal intensive care unit. I help babies develop their feeding skills and teach caregivers how to safely feed their infant. Story 124. Would I rather be at the barn? Yes, I would. I have to work and I do enjoy formulating ink, but I would still rather be playing with ponies all day. Story 125. Yes. I think it's partly a function of having a good team and a manager who helps us when we need an extra hand. Also, life has been less stressful since I left consulting. I have work-life balance. Oh my God. I am in email marketing. Story 126. Yes, I love my job. I'm a hairstylist and I own an H-hair salon. Story 127. Every day is a 60 to 40 or 70 to 30 split between being excited and not. I am a tool and die maker. Most days bring something new and interesting. Story 128. Not really. My coworkers are solid, management is good, and I am paid well. I get enough time off that I feel ready to return to work when the time comes, and I also feel ready to begin my time off on my last workday. Do not get excited about it, though. It is still just a job. Story 129. I am mostly happy with my work. I create 2 four-dimensional puzzles set 1 and 2 days in the future, with approximately 20 moving parts and 400 to 500 contact points, spread from 3:30 a.m. to 8 p.m. across a 10,000 square mile area. 2 staff members manipulate the puzzles when they start to go awry. I also teach others how to create such puzzles for their areas. I am a non-emergency medical transportation manager specializing in routing. I am also skilled at recruiting and retention. Story 130. I'm a corporate accountant. In theory, I only work half the month. The other half I spend gardening, playing video games, and cleaning the house. My boss knows and allows it because I'm the most competent person on our team. I get things done on time or early, make few mistakes, and help whenever needed. She has said that if she lost me, she would be in serious trouble. I get paid well, but I value my free time more than trying to find a better job. My employer also pays for all my schooling. Story 131. I work as a development officer, a fundraiser, for a regional food bank. The mission, team culture, work-life boundaries, and pay are all highly motivating. I intentionally applied for a part-time job because I also have an entrepreneurial gig, and at 3 days per week, I still get great health insurance. I feel like I found the needle in the haystack. Story 132. In all of my jobs, I have both looked forward to and dreaded going to work. The biggest impact was not the job itself, but the people I worked with on any given day. That is what makes the biggest difference, at least in my experience. Story 133. I do human resources for a 60-person advertising technology startup. Most days I enjoy it because there is a lot of variety, problem-solving, collaboration, and opportunities to help others. Other days are hard, especially since I am 4 years in and hitting a ceiling. Story 134. I work in work health and safety at a zoo. I deal with different staff needs and something new every day. I have been part of many experiences I never thought I would see or do. Most days I am excited to be at work. Shared grief after an animal's death can make it difficult. Story 135. I develop medicines for rare diseases, most for children. I enjoy working with very talented colleagues and providing treatments and sometimes cures. Between preclinical results, discussions with physicians, and planning clinical work, I get everything I look for in a job. Story 136. Yes, I'm a therapist. Some days I'm more exhausted than excited, but I love my job so much that I wouldn't do anything else. Story 137. I am a psychotherapist who runs my own practice. My office is a 20-minute walk from my house through a gorgeous neighborhood and a city park in the Pacific Northwest. I have a handful of clients I dread, but more days than not I love waking up, making my coffee, walking to work, and sitting with people as they fight and struggle to become better versions of themselves. I can't imagine doing anything else, and I'm proud of myself for taking the risk to quit a stable career, take out loans, and move across the country to follow my dream. If you have something you really want to do and the longing stays with you consistently and calmly for a long time, do it. It might turn out to be every bit as good as you hoped. Story 138. Yes, I enjoy it. I work on a very niche technical software product, and each day feels like solving increasingly difficult puzzles. Story 139. I enjoy my job. I'm a production assistant in Los Angeles for post-production. It's a stepping stone to what I want to do, which is work in entertainment. It seems like the industry is slow in Los Angeles nowadays, but I'm still excited to see what my day is like. Story 140. God. No. I would retire right now in my mid-30s if I could, absolutely. Story 141. I am a front-end developer and I love my job. I get to solve puzzles all day, which keeps me sharp and is fun. Story 142. I kind of did at my old job, but that was mostly because I got to see my friends during the day. My close colleague and I would wave whenever we passed each other, take coffee breaks together, and leave together. My manager would chat with me about television shows and games we were watching or playing. A good manager and team can make even the most boring job exciting. Story 143. I am a primary school teacher. So yes, it is always an interesting and fun day. Story 144. I was a software developer for 14 years, 10 of them at the same company. I love the work, but after 2020 the environment became toxic because of nepotistic hires, unrealistic deadlines, and extensive monitoring. Now I teach software development at a college, and I am enjoying it. The students are great and appreciative. On every project, one or two of them genuinely surprise me by going above and beyond. Story 145. I once had an attractive coworker. I looked forward to seeing her every time. Story 146. Yes, I am an astrophysicist. I am very excited about what we will find next in our data. Every morning begins with challenge, adventure, and awe. But with budget cuts at the National Aeronautics and Space Administration and all the effects of Dogecoin, we are going from underpaid to unemployed. Whether I have a job next year or not, I will be truly thankful that I could do this work while being paid in my 30s. Story 147. I wouldn't even want to sit on my ass and make millions for a living every day. I need a switch up. Story 148. I fix air conditioners. For years I thought of it as just a job, but one day an older couple hugged me after I got their air conditioner running again in the middle of a heat wave. That is when I realized what feels routine for me is literally life-changing comfort for someone else. I am not obsessed with work. I still clock out on time and keep my balance. Choosing to see the value in what I do makes showing up a lot easier. It is not just turning wrenches. It is keeping people safe and comfortable. My job is making the world a better place by 0.02%, and that is cool. Story 149. I am a bartender. If I am excited, it is purely because of the people I am working with. Story 150. I am a medical doctor and surgical pathologist. I enjoy every day at work. What a blessing. Story 151. I am a full-stack software engineer. I would not say I love my job, and I definitely look forward to the weekends, but I enjoy what I do most of the time. I work with a great team, and I consider some of my teammates friends. I can work from almost anywhere in Europe within certain limitations. I see my job as one big puzzle every day, and I get paid much more than most people my age. All in all, 10 out of 10. I would recommend it. Story 152. Excited? No. Relieved? Yes. Since having a child, I have looked forward to the peace and quiet at work. I love my child very much, by the way. Story 153. I think there have been a few immigration and customs enforcement recruitment job fairs around the country recently. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.